Hey everybody, I'm going to give an honest review of the tuning school's tuning material. And so there's a lot of mixed reviews that are online, a lot of forums. Some people say, yeah, it's great. Some people bash it. Well, I was dumb enough to go spend a lot of money on this tuning material, so I'm going to give you an honest review on what I think about it. So to start off with, everything that they have like a few different packages. And I think it's even changed since I bought this about 8-9 months ago. So what you get with it is you get this book, depending on which option you go with. The GM Beginner using HP Tuners VCM Suite, level 1. You get your, basically like a checklist or cheat sheet for the application you're tuning with or for. And you have your your math and VE guide, which is going to show you how to do your partial throttle tuning and your wide open throttle tunes. So to go ahead and start with this book right here, right? They show you essentially how to tune for bolt-ons and minor modifications, cams and heads, and they also show you how to tune for forced induction. With my car, I have a 2013 LS3 Camaro, so that is the manual. And I have a turbo on it. So I was working with the forced induction setup. Other things you're gonna need, that they tell you you're gonna need, is an AFR gauge, so to watch your air-fuel ratio. And you're going to need the HP Tuner itself, and you're gonna need to purchase some credits from HP Tuner to retrieve your tune from your car. And you'd actually, what they also don't tell you is that you need an extra credit to pull your FSCM data, which is your fuel pump control module. So the book, it says it covers Gen 3 and Gen 4. Now that's something you do need to be careful about because they don't really elaborate on it too much. Gen 4 is going to be the 5th generation Camaro, or essentially anything with like an LS3 or an L99, something like that. The Gen 3 is going to be covering your Pontiac GTOs with the 6.0 liter or the LS2 engine in it. Now their website says that this book will cover LS1, LS6, LS2, LS3, LS7, LS9s, and LSA, which is the LSA of course being the ZL1 version of the 6.2 liter. They do have a package online that has the HP Tuner itself, it has the AFR gauge, and it has this book material for $1,500. That's a lot of money. I don't think I did not pay that amount. So what I did was I bought this material for $4.99. I did buy the AFR gauge or the wideband through them, because they have like this little adapter inside of it that you solder on, and you can just use your cigarette lighter to power that. So I did go ahead and get that, but then I got my HP Tuner itself, I believe from the actual HP Tuner's website. I think actually by piecing it together, I think I actually paid less than the $1,500. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself. Essentially, what do I think of it? I think that it is overpriced for material that is publicly available and free. Now, I do know that this issue I had as well is it's very intimidating going on there and starting to try to tune your own vehicle, especially as a beginner, right? I was very intimidated by it because you see all these videos of, oh, I got this bad tune and my engine blew up. Well, with this material, you're gonna be getting a safe tune, okay? You're gonna get something that's not going to blow it up, and it gives you the confidence. I will say this does give you the confidence to go in there, edit your tune file, upload it, work on your partial throttle tune and your wide open throttle tune. With all that being said, like I said previously, it's publicly available information. And so as long as you're not going on there making these wild changes and keeping everything conservative, right? You're not gonna blow up your car as long as you keep it conservative. Now, I do know trying to find a full how to tune A to Z is very hard to find. And this does give you that information, but it's not gonna take you very far, okay? So I'll go ahead and talk about the support, and then from the support, I'll go into explaining why I think they don't really give you enough information. So with purchasing the tuning material, right, you get a year of support. Well, I had a problem, okay? So I installed my turbo kit, and then I tuned it. I was driving it around for a few days, and then all of a sudden, and at this point, I had not been able to get it into boost because I had some really bad weather here. And so I was driving it, and I get to a stop sign, and the car starts surging. And it started to sound like it was almost trying to be choked out a little bit. So I'd have to give it gas, and I got it home, put it in my garage. And during this time, it's like leaning out too. So my first thought is, okay, I have an air leak somewhere. Like a vacuum leak or exhaust leak, and that was gonna cause this. Well, I've done smoke tests, found no air leaks. I did have a problem with my blow-off valve and my wastegate that I contacted her on speed, and they helped me fix that, but it was still doing it. So I sent my log files off to the tuning school, and let's see here. What did they say? They started out helping me, okay, or being kind of friendly, and then within like a day or two, their whole attitude kind of changed, and it seemed like they were very irritated and annoyed, right? I was asking a lot of questions because I had never done this before, right? They started getting a little like vague, and I was like, okay, so look, I've changed out my map sensor, here's the data for that, does this look good? And they were like, yes, that's how you're supposed to edit your tune file for your map sensor, because I went from a stock SS map sensor to a ZR1 map sensor, right? So you have to change some fields. They told me I did that correctly. I asked them, I was like, okay, so I've swapped out my fuel pump because I went from a Super Sport fuel pump to a ZL1 fuel pump. And I asked them, I was like, I found all this information on HP tuners to be able to have the ZL1 fuel pump flow like a ZL1 fuel pump, right? Not the SS. And their reply was, I don't know anything about the FSCM. And they specifically said, tunes don't just go bad. That was another part they said. Well, I'm not an idiot, okay? I have a degree in computer science. I know how this stuff works. A computer is not gonna just start, for something like this, it's not just gonna go throw in random information. So they got very condescending, eventually kind of left off with, they just never helped me, right? I'm pretty sure they didn't look at the log files too, because, what I think they get a lot of support tickets, and I think they're tired of seeing the same things. And if people follow their material, I think their thing is, okay, then you shouldn't really have an issue, right? So I think that they were just kind of brushing me off. They never helped me figure out the solution. I figured out the solution by going through HP Tuner forums. So if you are getting this and expecting some sort of help, there definitely won't be any hand-holding, and there won't be much in the way of just actual like suggestions or recommendations. I think they're just honestly putting this material out for the money, and they might be good at tuning cars, but they're just really not in the business of helping people. I mean, people are spending like $1,500 on this material here, and they're getting zero help. And that's just ridiculous. As a company, you should not just be brushing people off saying, I don't know anything about this. Look at some resources, help them out, because these people spend their hard-earned money. When you're selling something that expensive, you need to have good customer service. And I'm not sure if I'd said this a second ago, but if you looked at what the issue ended up being is that, well, I don't really want to get too much into details on it, but if you would have looked in the log file, you would have seen what it was. As somebody who's an advanced tuner who's selling this information, this is something that they should have been able to look at the log and see it immediately. However, I had to go searching through HP Tuner's website on the forums, and I finally found somebody who had the same issue as me, and I corrected it. So transitioning back to the material, it's not going to cover everything, right? There's going to be a lot of stuff in here that you're going to have to go research. A lot of the fields that the material says is where it's at is not there. Now that could be chalked up to just different years. I don't know, right? I'm not sure. Could be just different fields. So what I mean by that, right, is so when you go into your tune file, you're gonna have to go through and they'll say, okay, here, 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 you're gonna find this specific field within these tabs. It's not always there. You have to go find it. You have to go do some research on your own. So it's not a full guide of hand-holding. Next, like I said, with my issue, it's not gonna be a comprehensive, this is how you do everything, right? I get it, this is a beginner, but I'm pretty sure in the advanced stuff is not gonna be having the same thing. And if you expect their support to be able to help you with that, I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen. There's a phrase kind of like, it's just point and shoot, and that's essentially what they're telling you to do. It's like, okay, go do this, and go do this. And there's not much explanation of why what that does and why you would need to do that. So like with the cam section, it says, okay, this is how you affect the chop, essentially, right? But it doesn't go into much more detail than that. As somebody who's a beginner tuner, I would have liked to have, you know, a lot more wealth of information for $1,500, right? Or even the $500 that the book itself cost. So my opinion on this stuff, you know, it gave me the confidence to go into my tune file, start editing things, start playing with it, and made me, you know, feel comfortable that I wasn't gonna go blow my engine up. There's gonna be a safe tune that you can use with it, right? And then those are the pros. The cons, it costs too much money for the information you're getting. All this information is publicly available, so essentially what they're doing is they're compiling it all together, putting it in a book and selling it to you. Maybe that's a pro, maybe that's a con. It depends on how you view that. Third, I would say their support is absolute crap. I've had the worst experience, maybe not the worst, but I've had a bad experience with their support. And you can even see it in their videos, man, that they post on YouTube. You know, they're like, specifically one video that, you know, is pretty prevalent in my mind is their video on minimum injector pulse width. And it's part of your fuel injectors, right? So when you're putting your fuel injectors in, you have to switch it out in the tune. Well, in the beginning of the video, the guy just kind of seems like he's making fun of everybody. And he seems to be tired of hearing the same thing, which I get that, but this is beginner material, man. Like, if you're gonna be sitting there bashing people for not being confident in this, then maybe there's a reason why. Maybe they're not confident because of the material, or maybe, you know, they just need that extra little push to become more confident with it. And you can clearly see that you're just not very receptive of helping people. That's my take on it. Is it good knowledge? Yes. Is it publicly available for free? Yes. But it is condensed, but you're not going to get much help from the support team. And that's my take on it. I think I might have paid a little bit too much for this. But that being said, next video will be out here soon about all my modifications and what's going on with the Camaro currently.